Never boring, right? Never boring these days. So 4 of the biggest web companies, Facebook, Twitter, Microsoft, and YouTube, all getting together to try to clear extremist materials from their sites. This has been a huge controversy. People have been wondering for a long time why they couldn't crack down on some of this. They plan to create a database of digital signatures, hashtags, terrorist images, and remove them from their websites. The companies will share the hashes of those extremist images with the other companies. Participating companies can add hashes from their platforms to the database. Other companies can use those hashes to identify such content on their sites and remove them when appropriate. And each company will independently determine what hashes to contribute to the shared database. So what does all this mean? And what does it do to freedom and the First Amendment and all those sorts of things? Who better than Judge Napolitano to ask that question to? Fox News senior judicial analyst. Judge, good to have you here today.
Good to be with you.
I think a lot of us, watching what you see on the Internet, bomb-making instructions.
Right.
And we know that the Boston Marathon bombers got the information that they got from a magazine that was online. But I imagine that you have some concerns about this.
I do, but we start with some basics. The First Amendment, which says Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech, has been uniformly interpreted to restrain the government. So not just Congress, but only the government. So the First Amendment does not restrain the owners of the platforms, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, from interfering with the freedom of speech. Theoretically, the rantings and ravings of Anwar al-Awlaki, which we believe inspired the thankfully not fatal but still horrific attack on Ohio State University last week, inspired that. Theoretically, that is lawful. The government will not interfere with it. But out of a sense of decency and taste and patriotism and human safety, the owner of the platform decides not to run it. That means that these people that want to get their radical messages out will have to find another means to do it. It also means that Facebook and Google, etc., are exercising some form of censorship on speech with which they disagree, and that, too, can be dangerous. Not as dangerous as the government. I can't escape the government, but I can escape Google and Facebook if they're not letting my message get out there.
So legally, it goes back to the principle that it's their company.
Yes.
Right? It's
yes.
YouTube's company, it's Facebook's company, and they don't have to let someone walk in the door and use their product if they don't want to.
Correct. The New York Times does not have to take an ad from a bomb maker telling other bomb makers how to make the bomb. He can go somewhere else to peddle what he wants to peddle if there's another platform. Because the New York Times, in my hypothetical, just like Google and Facebook, is doing what they think is best for their investment in their company. If their investors want to hear more of this stuff that is so dangerous, maybe they'll rethink it. But right now it seems to be a very popular move.
So in terms of what they would be compelled to share with the government, where are the lines on that?
Okay, they are not compelled to share anything with the government. They have all entered into agreements with the government that if they find something that fits in this category, they'll send it over to the government. Remember, the language itself is not criminal. It's not actionable. But it may tip the government off to somebody they should be looking at.
And their technology at sourcing and collecting these hashtags in these areas, they may find evidence that perhaps the FBI didn't see when they were scanning.
Correct. So now the question becomes, will a new platform arise which will be totally free and totally uncensored? That would be lawful, but we don't know if anybody would invest in it.
I think people want to make it as hard as possible for these folks. So this is a step in that right direction. Thank you very much, Judge.
You're welcome.
Good to see you.
Likewise.